I don't carry that in my back pocket, and I apologize. But no, huh? Say again. I can, Miss John, I can get you that information and get back to you on that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, so Charlie, give me another one, please. If you've been following recent activity, the City of St. Mary's approved in concept the beautification plan for Exit 1. You see the two things over here on the thing? But basically, it's to when you're facing St. Mary's at at the pilot looking towards St. Mary's, the monument sign you see over on the far left with the three flags, that's what will be on the left-hand side. And what you see on the right-hand side in the middle down below is what will be on the right-hand side. Okay? The anchors, what are the anchors for? The anchors are going to be located throughout as part of a walking trail, a multi-use walking trail. But that's the concept. That's 3.6 million or 3.8 million, pardon me. That was approved in concept, on concept only. Charlie? Okay, the big question about DOT. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I got a question about the concept. Is there any discussion in there about adding shoulders or widening St. Mary's Road as part of that concept?
There has been consideration, and we've looked at that, and we're working with DOT, which I'm fixing to address. Thank you. St. Mary's Road is an access controlled road. It's controlled by DOD, Department of Defense, and the Georgia Department of Transportation. Everyone is absolutely correct. They control that. We have been in not negotiations, that's the wrong term. We have met with the local DOT, GDOT. We have met with the middle management in GDOT, and and when I say we, I'm referring to Radiant and the city, me and Bobby Marr. We've even gone as far as going to Atlanta, sitting down with the commissioner of GDOT and making him aware of the project and asking for his help. Exit 1, it's atrocious traffic problems with the truckers. Absolutely. They had come up 2.5 years ago and they wanted to put double roundabouts. Okay, that was before this project. Everybody had concern with the double roundabouts. Well, when they started doing when Radiant started on their dime, started doing the study to look and see how those would work, they found out those roundabouts will fail early into the project. They're not going to engineer. That has to be GDOT. Okay? So we sat down with them. The commissioner's words to me, okay? The commissioner's words to me were, we've got to look at this as the whole project, and we can't put a Band-Aid on it. We've got to fix it once and for all. Because one of my biggest fears was they were going, okay, well, y'all do the roundabouts for a while and then we'll fix it. We don't want that. I don't want that, and I know y'all don't want that. Okay? But the commissioner is aware of it. We're still having, matter of fact, I got an email from them today about some concerns, and we're working through that. Radiant is working through that, and we're also working through that. DOT is engaged. They're aware of the amount of traffic going up and down the road. DOD has also been. We have talked to the locals. The commissioner himself is talking to the federal side of that DOD traffic side. The Federal Highway Administration, I think is the word it's referred to. So the right people have been engaged in that. They're aware of the traffic counts. They're looking at it. This is high on their priority list of addressing those concerns. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I looked at the RAYDIENT application that went to the zoning board and the traffic study that was included in that. The traffic expert came up with several scenarios for this whole length of corridor, including roundabouts, traffic lights. Every one of their scenarios was acceptable except for that interchange. They could not come up with safe and acceptable routing trafficking for that intersection.
Okay, can I ask a quick question? Because I think I can answer your question. If I'm reading you right, I'll make sure. Are you referring to Radiant's engineers looking at the interchange?
We build out intersection capacity analysis that was included in
Yes, ma'am.
application.
Okay. They're not going to look at that interchange. That has to be a GDOT because that is a GDOT.
They did look at it in this analysis.
They did. They did. They had to.
Yeah, and they couldn't come up with an acceptable.
They had several alternatives when we went to Atlanta, and the commissioner said, no, we'll take your information, we'll look at it, we're going to address it, and we'll come to a conclusion then.
So that's my concern is that this goes forward.
Yes, ma'am.
And the commissioner or whoever has the ultimate says, no, nothing that we do will make that a safe intersection. What happens at that point? Does the whole project get kibosh?
No, there's some alternatives that are there.
At this point, there's no access to this built into this project. It's just these homes over there. If I'm coming from Jacksonville at 595, how am I going to get to my new home down there?
Exit one. And there's no safe way to accommodate
How am I
the
gonna get
increased
there?
traffic.
I'm calling on her question.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a house down there.
Right.
But I want to know how I'm going to get to my house when I buy that house. So you haven't addressed that yet. And it sounds like that hasn't even been addressed.
And maybe I'm maybe
They're gonna build all these
hold
houses.
on. There's access cuts that have been identified. Okay. There's access cuts that are already there. If you go down that road, you'll see the access. And this, hold on, St. Mary's Road. When you go down St. Mary's Road, you'll see the cuts that are in the road. Okay. You'll see where it'll turn to go off into the woods. There'll be little drives in there.
That's where the entrances are going to be for the new development.
They're trying to line them up with that. Yes, sir.
But I thought DOD wasn't that anybody put any more entrance.
DOD's the one that said that that's where those cuts would be.
DOD is going to let them make an entrance there.
They've still got to get final review of it, but where those locations are have been approved. Okay, they've been there forever. Yes, sir. That was a part of the original layout.
People enter that every day today.
Sir. Okay, not to be disrespectful whatsoever. Okay, we really need to go through with this. That's what DOD and I'm going to phrase that. That's what GDOT and the Federal Highway Administration are all looking at to ensure that safety is paramount along that roadway. Okay? GDOT has basically said the cuts that are in that road existing are the ones that you need to focus on using. So that means Radiant has to go in and focus on other means of transportation within the project.
So at this point, you had to say, anyone who buys one of these 3,000 houses is going to come off that area, coming from Jacksonville, you're going to come off that I-95 St. Mary's intersection and drive up St. Mary's Road and turn into their house, one way or the other.
They're going to turn into that either the north side or the south side and a roadway going into it.
So they're going to make a left turn, and they're going to be north of St. Mary's, across the traffic. So that's where the traffic circle came into it?
No, the traffic circles go back when this was 2.5 years ago before Radiant, and GDOT wanted to put traffic circles at exit 1. Roundabouts. Okay.
You mean to get on the interstate now or not?
No, just go, instead of the traffic, where the traffic light is, they wanted a big circle. Okay. We need to move on, guys.
Bottom line, they don't know how they're going to get into this.
They have a, that's what they're lining.
Hey, Robbie, because,
Excuse me, folks. Excuse me. Not you. Okay, folks, please.
because St. Mary's Road is so critical to the base, will the Department of Defense have a sign off on this project?
Yes, sir. That's the reason the Federal Highway Administration is involved. It will go from the Federal Highway Administration to DOD down to Kings Bay. Kings Bay has already been made aware of it, and they provided the input to it. Their concerns is just like everybody else is. Yes, ma'am.
So, shouldn't DDOT approve this? So we know what that energy is like. Seems like that would be a first step.
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
So we don't care how.
Because if we don't have this project, GDOT is going to put double roundabouts in.
So, but we don't care right now how cars and trucks get on or off.
No, ma'am, we do care. We have been going, well, I've been involved in it for the last 2.5 years, okay? We've been going to Atlanta the last 2.5 years, addressing Exit 1 and the current problems as a state, okay? If we don't have this project, DOT is going to look at this project as it sits, not this project, but look at those interchanges as our city sits currently. Their conclusion was that the roundabouts were the best solution. And I'm not saying they're going to come and stick roundabouts in, but that's what they're going to tell you. That's what they've told us. No, ma'am, I did not say that. They have come up. There's several different solutions that have been proposed, but we don't have a say in that. That's going to be GDOT.
But we should go ahead and plan our development first, and hope that GDOT comes up with a good solution. That's how it goes.
Pretty much.
Seems a little backwards.
No, ma'am, that's actually how it works. Okay, if we can, guys. Yes, sir. No, sir. It'd be one on either side of them. Be one at Haddock Road and one on the other side. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. No, no. That's if it's warranted. Yes, sir. Okay, let me clarify that for everybody real quick. Traffic lights. You can't just go stick a traffic light up, okay? There's certain steps with GDOT that you have to go through, and it's called meeting warrants that you have to meet in order to install a traffic light, okay? That's not just, it goes everything from speed of vehicles, which, yes, we all know, St. Mary's Road, number of accidents, the number of entrances, exits, distance from them, here, there, and everything else. You've got to meet all those warrants before you can install traffic light. All of it it has to be warranted. Okay. You put I didn't know this. Now, y'all, those of you don't know me, I'm an old fireman. Okay. You have to have a warrant study to put a traffic or stop sign up. Okay. That's how GDOT works. So, okay, Charlie. All right. This is the north corner that we talked about, the industrial side, the light industrial side with the fire station. There's a piece of road, basically just over half a mile, that we would be responsible for installing, the city would be responsible for installing that roadway. Also the water reservoir. And you can kind of see the cost in the lower right-hand corner of it. These are not what they're going to look like. These were just simply to give you, the images were given to you just to have an idea of what we were talking about. Okay?
Nobody owns between that yellow line and Haddock Road, so Radiant doesn't own it, the city doesn't own it. You zoom that out, the left side of that is, Haddock Road's over there somewhere.
Yeah, this is.
There's gonna be no in and out off of Haddock.
Not at this time. That's private owned property. It's not part of the
It'll be all come off there.
Okay. All right. Mr. Canning, to your point, this is the Haddock loop that they're talking about. Okay? It's not this. It's this piece down here they're talking about. Okay. Now, I don't know if that clarifies it or confabulates everything we talked about, but that's part of our deliverables. You got the other cuts that go into the other spaces. To your point, sir, and I apologize for pointing. Got a glare in my eye. These are where you see those existing cuts that we were talking about along St. Mary's Road. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's old logging roads. But they were allocated through the Department of Defense, and those can be used.
To make it a pedestrian, bicycle friendly environment in this green world where we're concerned not just about the world but our own personal health, will there actually be overpasses going over St. Mary's Road so that if I live on one side of St. Mary's Road, I can ride my bike to the
That's still in the development phase. Technically, right now, they've actually, in concept, they've got it going down, would be the right side that's coming this way. Okay. As far as getting across that way, I'm uncertain of that right now.
I'm sorry. So would I be able to cross? Would I be able to get from one side of the development to the other side?
I am fairly certain there would be something there to get you across the way.
I mean, I need not in my car, but me.
On a bicycle, I understand.
My
Walking.
grandson,
Yes, ma'am.
my 10-year-old grandson who wants to ride a bike to school, so it would be very pedestrian.
Yes, ma'am. It is being designed in that manner.
But that is a possibility to have overpasses.
I don't know about an overpass, but they'll have something.
Is that something they're asking for to make it? They're concerned about our health, our world.
They're very, Radiant is very focused on that when it comes to their developments. And exactly how that's going to do, I'm uncertain.
That's something that maybe we should be asking.
It's certainly an ask, yes.
Okay, let's ask.
Okay. All right. So that's the big picture. Go ahead, Charlie. What's the cost? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
On that last slide, what's the big area?
Charlie, go back.
Excluded from the annex there, kind of the lower area?
Okay, you're going to have to kind of direct me. Where am I looking?
In the middle, the gray area in the middle of the annex.
Right here. This is being annexed in. This is a piece of property that is currently owned by a private citizen. They're not a part of Radiant, but because of the way we're doing the annexation, they're going to be annexed in as well. Yeah, it's a piece of private property. All right, remember we're talking about two phases, folks. The first phase is going to basically cost $31.4 million, with the second phase being $64.1 million. Now, please pay attention to the far right of the boxes of where the money's coming from. We're wanting to apply for several grants, big money, to try and come in and it'll take some of the pressure off this entire project. But I can't apply for any grants because it's not in the city. Okay? In order for me to apply for grants, it has to be in the city limits. So I'm running up to the magical line and I'm having to wait because it's not into the city. If you're paying any attention to the national news, there is a great deal of money in infrastructure projects across the nation that is available and people aren't jumping on it. But I'm ready to jump on it, but I can't jump because it ain't in the city. Okay? So our goal is to get the first phase going and then work in the grants to take some of the pressure off the overall sticker price. Okay? All right. Go ahead. So, TAD. I miss it. We haven't gone into TADs yet, or is that the next one? Okay. I got my order out of whack. I apologize. Tax allocation district. Charlie, go to the next one. We'll come back to this. Okay, so what is a TAD? Okay, what happens is when you initiate a TAD, it locks the value of the property down. Okay? And any value that increases after it's locked down, the taxes that are generated from that, what's normally there, goes into a TAD account. Okay? That TAD account, that money is called increments. That TAD account is what we're going to use to pay for the overall project. It will pay the bond. Okay? So that kind of helps give you some clarity, I hope, on how it works. It's there. Read up on it. You can also check it out on the internet. But when you think that we're seeing that kind of an increase, $541 million worth of increase in that property value, it's going to generate a pretty sizable number.
20 years.
That's it, 20 years. You're absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know. Question, how many $1 million will Radiant be putting in?
Radiant is putting the engineering and everything else in on their side.
What is that?
I don't know that number.
They're gonna pay for any roads.
No, they're all those other cuts that you saw, that's on them. That's on them.
Were you in the negotiation between Camden County and the school board regarding their relationship?
We are right dead square in the middle of the negotiations with that.
Okay, so it could go either way.
Go back to the slide. Sir?
So right now, you're still waiting for them to agree to forego their tax revenue,
Yes, sir.
based on the tax.
Yes, sir. If you'll remember back, and I said that we give you some flexibility to satisfy some of those things, that's why we're seeing it. We should know, sorry?
Do you expect that to be resolved before?
Yes, sir.
Or after the first year?
It'll be resolved, mid-December.
Before the new.
Before our 19th or December 19th council meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. At 100% of TAD increments. Remember I said that was the money? The city of St. Mary's TAD over 20 years will be 29, or is estimated at being $29.7 million. Camden County will be $67.9 million. And the Camden County school system will be $73.9 million. At 100%, that going into the TAD fund. And we said what was our total? 92 million, I think was what we had said earlier was going to be the total cost of projects. So we're just in the TAD alone at 100%. And granted, that's being negotiated out. We're looking at $171.5 million. So the other revenues that we possibly see, capital recovery fees. That's paying for, if you've built a house over the last 10 years or so, you had to pay a capital improvement fee when you built your home. You also had to pay an aid to construction fee when you built your home. Any buildings that are built in the city of St. Mary's have to pay those fees. Those fees will exist for the developers as well. Okay? So that's going to generate another $32 million. Sales tax eventually, hopefully, is estimated to bring in $16 million. Okay? So they're forecasting total revenues of $219 million. Again, going back, this is what it's costing. That's what the TAD's created, but we've got other revenues coming in as well. Yes, ma'am.
If for some reason you are declined for all of the grants that you'll be applying for,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the way it's set up, guys, oh, I'm sorry, that's very inappropriate, and I'm trying to do good. We're going to have 2 years or a year and a half that there may not be any development going on. But what do you do about those bond payments? Because it's a loan is what it is. It's a governmental term for a loan. That's being built in on the back side of the bond to be able to pay those couple of years until we get that TAD going. Okay? Does that help? Okay. A year and a half, 2 years, something like that. No, I didn't say that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. TAD 1, let me clarify. TAD 1 is the Jacoby project. TAD 1 is the Jacoby project. TAD 2 is this project.
And that started.
They're separate.
And that was taken out 5 years. That started 5 years ago.
It's, yeah, something like that, yes, ma'am.
Have we recovered any of that?
A little bit. But they're not tied together.
I know. I just wondered how, I mean, this looks great. This looks like, who could pass that up? How's our first TAD doing? Are we
It is developing. It hasn't really started until we started with the Commerce Park, which is the old airport site, and it's increasing all the value now.
So this might be like TAD 1. It might not start for 5 years.
I wouldn't put money on it.
Well, when there's money on TAD 1 5 years ago, in other words, does it make any sense that we have to do with TAD 1 and the other developments and then proceed? I mean, I understand.
What's the revenue versus the cost of TAD 1?
I'm sorry.
The revenue for TAD 1 versus the cost after 5 years. Where does the city stand?
We haven't put any money into TAD 1 other than the illustrated 7.6 million into the Commerce Park that is moving ahead of schedule. Be slated out, pay out in roughly 5 years. But as far as the other side, we've seen some revenue growth. It's been very minute.
Without 7 million, what revenue does the city got from the 5 years? That's your question.
It's close to 100,000. That's off the top of my head. Don't hold me to it.
7.2 million out, 100,000 in 5 years. I'd like to know.
I'm sorry. No, 7 point. Now understand, the 7.6 is set up exactly like this TAD. It's got a couple of years it's going to pay up front. The properties that are on that Commerce Park will pay for itself over time. And it's going to pay out way ahead of schedule. I've got to move on, folks.
Do you have a cash flow analysis and a tax impact analysis year by year
What you
on different contingencies?
and I'm sorry, are we talking about this project? Or are we talking about TAD 1? What are we, because we're talking about, so if you're talking about this project that we're talking about here, what you have in your hand right there is the analysis.
That's all you've done?
That's all we've got is that. Yes, sir.
How much additional water and sewer revenue coming in for the city?
30, right, well, 32 million. Yes, sir.
How much of that Farmhouse capital recovery? 32?
It's in the document. It's in the document. It's on one of those pages in the KB advisory.
So, here's my question. We all talk about this TAD as a done deal and it's a magical vehicle to do all these things. Are you sure that you're even qualified for that?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, for the city, you clearly, downtown, you clearly do. But this is subject to Georgia state law.
Yes, sir.
And that law is called the Redevelopment Powers Law.
Yes, sir.
And you know what the restrictions on TADs are. I can read them to you. They are for revitalizing blighted, underutilized areas such as brownfields, declining commercial corridors, and industrial sites. How's a bunch of trees fit in any of that? Let me finish out. You have to declare it as an area of blight in order to apply for the tax. Then it has to go through the legislature, right? Why not?
I don't think it does. No, sir. Because the city has already been approved to have TADs in it. That was one of the components of the initial TAD, of TAD 1.
TAD 1.
Okay.
But this isn't redevelopment. This is all new development.
Well, you're taking it from pine trees to residential. That's a redevelopment. If it was, yeah, Rob.
I don't know if a lot of people realize, but it's just that y'all agree how important the base is for the city. If everybody needed a place to live, worked on base, active duty, contractor, civil employee, like everybody worked on anything, there is not enough housing in this population. A lot of the people that work on the base live down in the Jacksonville area and in. So this, from a DOD perspective, this is going to allow a lot of that population to live locally, which, in my opinion, is good for morale for the people that work on base. Now they don't have to commute as far. They're able to buy a home, rent a place here instead of having to commute down to Jacksonville back and forth. There's a lot of them that do it because there's not enough housing there. So with that supply and demand, it's gotten more expensive and the rent's gotten higher here. So a lot of those younger workforce, enlisted and contractors, can't afford to live there. So they have to live somewhere else. To me, this provides an opportunity for that local base population to stay, live, and work in
Now, I agree 100% with you, as long as it works.
it's going to work.
If it does, we'll talk to you. If it doesn't work,
Well, I don't.
if it doesn't work, if the projections fall short, we are all going to be paying for that bond. If the projections all fall short, or we get another recession, or we have another problem with downturn economy, or we have another COVID issue, then we're not going to generate anything.
When they were going to bracket Robin, all those services and all those everything in Groton was going to close. Those services were going to come to Kings Bay.
Right.
That didn't happen. When the word broke that base was closing, everything was going to relocate to Kings Bay, the price of real estate went through the roof. I mean, people were buying houses sight unseen because they thought that they were going to be able to turn it into rental property. That didn't happen. And then you got the boomerang effect where prices fell, so on and so forth. So this is the answer. Because the base is going to get bigger. So in order for us to keep that local population here, you've got to have more housing.
You know what the pricing will be? Will it be affordable? Outright. You have to go to Jacksonville. Who's gonna live in the now outright? Well, I'm just playing.
Well, I mean,
Okay, folks. All right, folks, let's keep moving, okay? Let's keep moving. So, Charlie, have a good night, sir. The way the TAD increments build out is, and we've already kind of talked about the city of St. Mary's, the 29 million. Camden County, 67 million, 73 by the Camden County Schools. These are at 100%. Okay. So that's where we're at with that. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, so phase 1 is going to cost $31.4 million. And that's going to be done, what, over the next 5 or 6 years? Okay? Just guess.
Around 3.5, 4 years.
Okay. If the TAD 23 to 2027 is going to be $3,508,000, you've got a $28 million shortfall on phase 1. Where does that $28 million come from? Besides grants.
Coming out of the bonds there. You got to.
The bond's going to finance until the TAD can take over?
Yes. 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 You know you got to tell me how. I got to think right
One
now.
quick question.
Yes.
If the school district and the county don't buy in, and this is done, it won't work.
You see the numbers.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're.
Well, there's flexibility there. You know, you're talking. Remember what we said? We're talking what 96 million or whatever. You know, that's that number. So we've got flexibility. So
They're 20% of it. They're 80% of it.
oh, they got stock in the game.
They
Yes,
got
sir.
80% of the rest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you remember, and I'm sorry, I promise I'll get to you. You've also got the 29.96 in there. You think about the capital recovery and the infrastructure cost. Okay, that's another 32 million. So we're not far off being able to stand by ourselves. You know, 30 million is 30 million. I'm with you. Oh, trust me, I'm still. I'm not. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not taking these numbers lightly. I'm really not. I mean, there's been a lot of sleepless nights on this. Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Accommodate increase in students, and if not, are there plans for new schools to be built, and at what cost to do?
That's all part, at this point in time, I can tell you that is a part of the negotiations we're having with the school board. We're very cognizant of it, and so is Radiant. Yes, ma'am. Okay? Yes, sir.
This overall project, kind of talking about this right now, the way I understand it, the immediate decision that needs to be made is annex the property. The devil's in the details after that. So I've briefly gone through the development agreement. I've seen there about zoning within the property, how it's going to be laid out. What if any conversations or discussions have been had between the city and Radiant on, you're saying here there's going to be a golf course, a hotel, where in general concept where those things going to go in that property? I would assume they could go out by I-95, but what's it, and I'm not looking to say, houses are going to be this minimum size on this size of lot, but you show a light industrial area. Where's the hotel going? Where's the golf course going?
Excuse me, folks. Go ahead. Okay, going back, if you remember the slide that had the breakdown of what could be in a PD, that's the one I'm talking about. You're tracking right. Okay. Now it goes into the phase of, okay, where can we put it to market it best on the Radiant side? Okay. They've got some.
Maybe the better question is, who gets to make the ultimate decision on where all that stuff goes? Is it equal seat at the table, or is that, Radiant, we're in this PD, by God, this is where the.
Well, it has to be approved by the planning commission and the council, if that helps. I don't know if that right, wrong, or difference. I don't know if it answers your question.
There's very little detail in
Yes,
the
sir.
agreement on how the two parties are going to sit at the table and work these things out.
Yes, sir.
It's going to go through the normal council process, and what leverage does each one have? If at some point the city says no, you're not going to put your hotel here, and Radiant says, oh yeah, my God, we are. Who wins?
Well, you've got the zoning.
Get to this, how do you resolve the coordinate? I think that's. I'll tell you.
No, but that's the plan. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. But that planning commission and the council vote is when we have authority under the planning to go, that's not suitable for here. It needs to be like this.
But I think his comment is worthy.
What was that?
About
Like you, yeah. Well,
But we're not Yulee.
Yeah, Rob, very, very quickly. The PD is an overview and it's encompassing everything. We may have it, we may not.
That's right.
Whole details got to be worked out. The council and the city basically has
Yes, sir.
We set up and say that zone for this, specific use, and that's basically how this thing will come to play. Right now, we're looking at something that is still very much in the formative stage, and we're not gonna see it until we get to the second step. And I think the main thing is to see, we get this annex, and we determine about the pad. I mean, the pad is one of those things. I don't remember that much about it, but we need to know the amount of the pad is, and specifically what can go into it. Because as far as I know, we're talking about just basically infrastructure there that is gonna be covered by the pad.
That's correct.
The pad is one of those things with a bond, you draw it down as you need it, and the revenues they generated from the excess valuation is used to pay this back.
That's correct.
The other thing I understand is these are gonna be revenue bonds, is that correct?
That's my understanding at this time.
Revenue bonds are not guaranteed by the city. Okay, so we're not guaranteed by the city. I'm not sure how this works, but they're not guaranteed by the
Yeah.
city as far as I recall, when involved with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of that, we're in a very formative stage here. I think the concept is up here. We can have flexibility to do, not still, but at least work for these people, come up with some compromise to make sure that it's a workable solution. And it's something that these people have assured us through the years that this is going on for, 20 years, as far as I know.